my work about homogenization procedure to establish strain gradient constitutive relation. This work is a collaboration with Professor Giali. We are from the University Paris 13, from the Laboratoire des Sciences des Procédés et des Matériaux. Let's begin by presenting the framework of the study. To understand the mechanical phenomena such like size or edge effect of heterogeneity inside a heterogeneous material, the higher order gradient of strain are often used and incorporated into constitutive equation governing the material description. This for the purpose to describe more accurately a heterogeneous material. Numerous theoretical and numerical works are founded in the literature. We can I listed someone, and so many more of other aiming in this purpose. The most difficulties, as mentioned previously, that the higher order constitutive relation are intrinsically depend on the size of the RVE, which is can be physically unreasonable. Why? Because if we consider an RVE correctly represent the microstructure of material in like periodic material, unique the constitutive relation should be obtained even for higher order at least in a static sense. The purpose of our work is to propose a numerical homogenization procedure based on the second gradient theory. By this homogenization procedure, we can obtain the effective mechanical properties depending only on the intrinsic size of the constituent, the scale size of the unit cell, but not on the size of RVE, if we can consider this as a repetition of unit cell. My next talk is organized as follows. I begin by recall the second order gradient theory. After that, I present you the homogenization procedure for the strain gradient constitutive law, and after that, I will propose an estimation of the second gradient stiffness tensor. I show you after that some application for composite material, and I close my talk by some concluding remarks. The second gradient theory has been developed in 2016 by Toupin and Lin, and also by also many famous researchers after. The second gradient material is a higher order material with no additional degree of freedom. Only the strain gradient, the second gradient of the displacement, and or the gradient of strain are considered as an additional deformation measurements. According to Mendeleev's strain gradient theory, the strain gradient is included in the strain energy density as mentioned here. The first part is in blue is considered due to the first gradient, and the second part due to the second gradient term. The derivative of this strain energy density with respect to the first gradient and the second gradient can constitute our strain gradient constitutive laws as follows, where we can recognize here the C is the first stiffness tensor, and D is represent the second gradient stiffness tensor. And the purpose now is how to determine the second gradient stiffness tensor. Before presenting the homogeneous procedure, I will state some hypotheses consistent to revise the macro homogeneity concept, which is the Hill concept. We consider here, firstly, that the macroscopic solid omega is constituted by a finite number of RV. Secondly, we consider that the higher order strain gradients have no influence when the material is perfectly homogeneous. Thirdly, we will consider the Taylor's expansion of the macroscopic displacement field at the geometrical center of the RVE, which after some manipulation we can write in like by this relation, where here E is the quadratic moment over the RVE omega m. Finally, we assume that we assume the equivalence between macroscopic and microscopic displacement mean fields and their n-order gradient for each RVE. By this assumption, we can solve now, do homogenization over an RVE. We resolve for that a local elasticity problem over a basic cell, omega m. We have in mind the Taylor expansion, the Taylor expression of the displacement, and we can obtain then here the average strain energy density over an omega m. We recognize here that the C bar is the effective stiffness tensor. We can calculate that by the homogenization, and the G bar, it is the second gradient stiffness tensor, which is valid only for the considered omega m. We want to now to extend this this relation to any considered RVE by the repetition. We will do some transformation. What it does consist? Firstly, we consider that the total energy, which is a continuous integral of the energy density, strain energy density, which is can be a discrete sum over the omega m over any omega m considered, and we replace then here the strain energy density founded. In the other hand, using our hypothesis, we can calculate such kind of energy. We can replace this continue by a discrete one. We replace here this gradient displacement by his Taylor expansion, and we can find this quantity, where here E is the quadratic moment over the RVE. Then we can manipulate, and we can find the first part of the total energy like this, including this part in the total energy, and we rewrite them in the continuous calculation. We can finally identify the new energy, the transformed energy density, strain energy density, where C here is the effective stiffness tensor, which doesn't correct it well, and D is the second stiffness tensor, which is corrected by this term, which is the homogeneous stiffness tensor with the quadratic term. By this correction guarantees that the strain energy density is a true strain energy density, independent of the RVE size. We can now proceed. We have proceeded now to estimate the second gradient tensor by using asymptotic, by combining asymptotic analysis and finite element. I begin by presenting here in this transparent the basic result for assumption. We know here using the differential operator in the equilibrium equation, we can have this equation. We consider also the asymptotic expansion of the displacement like this. And combining the displacement and the equilibrium equation, we can obtain several differential equation for each order. and we postulate after that the displacement from the asymptotic analysis can be written by this form, where phi alpha beta and psi alpha beta gamma are the periodic fluctuation that can be solved or obtained from the differential equation obtained by asymptotic assumption in the order -1 and the order -2. The color is related to each function, periodic fluctuation function. To solve this differential equation, we will use a correspondence with a classical mechanical problem, written like this, and we can solve by using finite element method. Practically, to find the first fluctuation periodic function, we apply such initial strain. In 2D we have to solve 3 problems, and in 3D we have to solve 6 problems to find the fluctuation part. For the next periodic function, psi alpha beta gamma, we must apply a body force which is equal to the stress solution of the previous problem. And for in 2D we have to solve 6 problems, in 3D we have to solve 12 problems. And we can also do this for the other orders obtained by the asymptotic assumption. Then, having the solution of this fluctuation function, we can rewrite the displacement field, the solution displacement field, and his first gradient, where with L and M are function of the periodic fluctuation, solution of the previous equation. We can write the gradient of the displacement in tensorial form. We perform now another strain energy density. We calculate this, and we can make some identification, and then we can find the effective stiffness tensor like by this calculation for C, for D. And the term F here is equal to 0 because we have postulate that we have a centrosymmetric RV. After that, we can perform the correction to obtain the strain energy, the true strain energy density in the RVE. Now we can apply this for some examples for composite material. For the numerical application, we have considered 4 patterns, 2 describing a cubic array arrangement of inside the microstructure, and 2 kind of for the hexagonal one. We consider also different size of RVE for square pattern and for hexagonal pattern. The parameters used in the simulation are summarized here, and I begin by presenting the first application for the square pattern before correction. We note that the effective stiffness tensor obtained after homogenization is present 3 independent coefficients, which is characteristic of our geometry, which is orthotropic symmetry. For the calculation of the second gradient stiffness tensor, we obtain 12 non-zeros value, which 6 of them are independent, and respect also the symmetry class defined in the work of Frey and al. in these two figures, I present here the evolution of the second stiffness tensor with the dimension and the size of the RV, and we notice here that this strain gradient depend on the size, and the value increases only for two value here, for two value. Why? We will see this after the correction. We will do the correction. We obtained that all the coefficients are independent on the size, and we verify that we will verify also that this coefficient respect the class symmetry for the second gradient. And I show you here how to operate the correction, and we see here that two terms of the which are independent on the size are not influenced by the correction proposed. And we verify also that we have 6 independent variables or value. For the hexagonal pattern, we for the stiffness tensor, homogeneous stiffness tensor, we have only 2 independent sides, which is characteristic of isotropic symmetry for the hexagonal. And the calculation of the second gradient stiffness tensor, we obtain 12 non-zeros coefficient 2 in 2D. And we present here in these two graphs the evolution of the second gradient stiffness tensor with the number of the unit cell in our basic cell chosen. And we observe that the second stiffness tensor increase only for 4 coefficients are independent on the size. We will verify also due to the symmetry, due to our geometry of the RVE, we will verify if we respect the symmetry class defined in the work of Ray. And we have proceeded to the same identification, and we obtain that only from this 12 coefficient, only 5 are independent. We apply now the proposed correction. All the coefficients of the strain gradient are independent on the size. I write here explicitly the different term, the 12th term, and we observe here that the four coefficients are the fourth coefficient that are not dependent on the correction, which is here. All other coefficients where who are depend on the size are corrected, and we obtain then the same coefficient. We notice that the quadratic moment are not the same for all the basic cell. And we will verify now if our 12 coefficients are also verify the symmetry class. We identify here, and due to the isotropy of the stiffness, we can find that we have only 5 coefficients that are independent, and our correction, by our correction, the second gradient respect the symmetry class of the second gradient or the higher order gradient tensor, which make a sense to our correction. And finally, I present to you the evolution of the corrected stiffness tensor with respect to the inclusion fraction, and we see here that that when the RVE tends to be homogeneous for high or low stiffness, for high or low volume fraction, the different coefficients of the tensor tend to vanish, which confirm our second hypothesis. To conclude, our numerical homogeneous procedure based on the second gradient theory provide a true strain energy density and guarantees the independency of the number of basic cells in unit cell in the basic cell, and we have performed by combining asymptotic analysis and finite element, we can provide the calculation of the effective tensor even for higher orders. By the proposed correction, the obtained stringent gradient effect stiffness tensor, they depend only on the intrinsic choice and not on the number of unit cell, which is physically acceptable, and also we can respect the symmetry group or class for higher order stiffness tensor. These numerical tools have been performed in COMSOL Multiphysique and we demonstrate the accuracy of the proposal approach, and we will extend our work to 3D, and we have a future scope to compare between a real finite structure with the homogenized obtained by the proposed constitutive higher order law. Thank you for your attention.
Yes.
My question is a little bit related to the discussion started at the end of the last presentation. Can one say that since your asymptotic analysis,
yes,
because you assume periodic microstructure, means that when your epsilon goes to 0, the microstructure becomes homogeneous everywhere. Would this be correct? So that you imply by your asymptotic analysis that your homogeneous, or that your microstructure becomes homogeneous everywhere. Also periodic.
I don't understand. Okay. Yes, it's the asymptotic analysis are also used for to find the first stiffness tensor too.
I'm just trying to get in my mind the argumentation straight, the arguments, because what happens now if you have a non-periodic material and you apply a strain gradient theory? Why? Just because locally you have homogeneous material, why should the strain gradient approach vanish at this point?
Right.
This isn't what I don't understand.
Okay, I can. We can take the first order, the classical homogenization. We choose always the periodic structure to better approach the homogeneous material, even if it is randomly made or periodically made. The classical, by using KUBC or kinematic strain boundary or the other, all for the first order, all the effective properties are converge for the same one, which is periodic. Why we use this, the asymptotic or the periodic microstructure, which is